When I make a contribution to my church, I just kind of gave us away all the hints on that. When I make a contribution to the church and I write a check, can I deduct that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's eligible for that deduction.
It's eligible for that deduction. Absolutely. To what extent?
Well, to the extent it would get to 50% of your.
I think cash is 60% now.
Okay.
I think they upped it. It used to be 50% cash, 30% for an asset. Yeah. So if you were giving away, if you had $1 million stock portfolio and you had $1 million income in a normal year, I think you could give away 60,000 of it in cash or 600,000 in cash if you wanted to.
Okay.
And 300,000, and again, that's why we have CPAs on team. 300,000 if it's an asset. Interesting thing that came out of COVID. It's true again. I believe this year, if it's cash, it's actually up to 100%. That'll go away. They won't let that happen. And it doesn't mean that everybody should be doing that, but it's, the amount that you give is dependent upon the timing, right? So December 31st is like a line in the sand when we talk about family gifting, right? So, your son's getting ready to buy his first house, and you and Andrea decide that you're going to give him $100,000 to buy the house, right? And it's Christmas time, right? I would tell you, assuming he's married when it's time to buy the house, I would tell you under the tax code for 2021 that we would give him $60,000 this year before December 31st and $40,000 January 2nd or January 1st, right? That's after December 31st, right? And there'd be no taxation that he would have to pay on the receipt of the gift and no taxation that you and Andrea would pay. Now, how we get there is you can give anybody you want $15,000 a year. Right? So when I say anybody, I mean Adam can give me $15,000, and I would strongly encourage it. Right? Yeah, I'll give up on that one. But you could walk down the street and give as many people as you wanted $15,000. It's not taxable to you. It's not taxable to them as a recipient, provided the gift is no strings attached. Your son has to be able to do anything he wants to do with that money. Right? This is going to be an important point on charitable giving in a minute, but. So you give the 15, and you gave your new-to-be daughter-in-law 15. And Andrea gave your son 15, and your new-to-be daughter-in-law 15. That's where the 60 grand comes from, no tax. If you gave them the other 40, if you gave them the $100,000 all before December 31st, that $40,000 is going to force you to file a gift tax return, and it's going to come off what's called your unified credit.